What's up guys, F4H Rosso here, and it's the day that everyone's been waiting for. It's the start of the FIA season on GT Sport. We're jumping straight into it for the simple fact that I'd recorded the entire race and then the game audio basically didn't record. So, replay camera for this one, unfortunately, but it's still a bit of a, well, it's a cracker of a race to be fair. We've been jumped by the hybrid at the start. We're in the 908 in this one, the Peugeot. Non-hybrid, I'm figuring race pace in a non-hybrid might be slightly better than the hybrid, so we've taken a bit of a left field pick. We got swamped in quali, had our lap quite badly compromised by a couple of cars that crashed on our lap. I basically got a 1.6 second penalty for overtaking a car under yellow flags on my quali lap, and you only get one shot at quali on this race, so not ideal. But basically the race has started as we expected. We're in a non-hybrid car. The guys have got full hybrid power around us, so we've been jumped at the start. We're down to 13th out of the 19 runners. But we're playing a long game in this one, as we do often in our Nations and Manufacturers Cup escapades. Just watching to see what's going on in front of us, trying to pick up positions as the Spaniard and the Russian come together a little bit there, trying to make Audi babies in front of me. And the 908 basic strengths are its top speed and its fuel management, so we're banking on being able to draft the hybrids as they, run out of hybrid power throughout the laps, and hopefully save more fuel than them. We're going for a one-stop strategy in this race, so we're going to stop around about lap 4 or 5, depending on obviously when the guys around us stop, if we're in trouble with traffic or anything like that. Well, the race has started basically the way that we thought it would. I basically had a chat with my teammates as we head down to Mulsanne for the first time on potential picks. We had a look at the SRT, which is a decent race car at Le Mans. We had a look at the 908, of course. My teammates Matt and Jamie both went for hybrids, the Audi R18 and the Porsche 919 respectively, and Matt and Jamie did a fantastic job in their race. They took the 6 PM nation slot as we take 11th off the Russian. Matt won and I think scored a record 3,034 points or something like that, so great start for him. Now we've just been tapped by the Russian there, and unfortunately that lumbers us with a 2-second penalty for basically nothing. Gave him plenty of room. He decided to come down the inside at Indianapolis, not really a place I'd be attempting an overtake, but it is what it is. So penalty picked up there, which is important, as you'll see as the race unfolds. But yeah, Matt and Jamie did absolutely fantastically. First and fourth set themselves up really, really well for the remainder of the Nations Cup. We've got VP De Frere up our inside there through the Porsche curves. Definitely let him have that one. No point trying to fight too wide through here, it's a recipe for disaster, so we'll just shadow them for now. Again, looking to take advantage of our top speed, 217 miles an hour, this thing, well 218 actually, so it tops out at. Now Alex makes a bit of a mistake there and for some reason decides he's going to turn in on me. That is another 2-second penalty for, something that we didn't cause. Again, penalty system, quite frustrating sometimes on GT Sport. The penalties on Le Mans, not ideal either. Very, very, very harsh in my opinion, particularly through corners like the Don Lopez and Terre Rouge, especially when you watch the races, or you've watched Le Mans this last weekend, and the cars are two wheels over the white line, loads of different places, extending track limits and things, and GT Sport basically is like, you're going to keep all 4 wheels inside the white line or you're going to get a penalty, so you have to be really, really careful. The inside of Terre Rouge, basically, if you cut it, is an instant minimum 2-second penalty, so very, very wary of that one. But you're going to see the 908 coming to its own here. We basically pick up a beautiful toe from that 919. We're basically breaking warp speed at this point. Got TG Tenka in front of us, battling with the Russian. He's going to come out worse. Up 34, so it's another position picked up. So we've basically risen from 13th at the end of the first lap to 10th, and we're sizing up Tenka as well. Basically slip straight past that SRT, no slouch in a straight line, so it shows you just how fast This 908 is absolutely rapid, and obviously we had to pick it because it's got FAP in its name, and why not? Why not FAP? As we go through the second chicane, 9th position, we're up to single figures already, and we're only halfway through the second lap, so the race is going swimmingly so far for us. I knew after qualifying that our pace was good enough for top 4, top 3, if we'd have managed to get our lap in without being ruined, unfortunately. So I had high hopes for the race. I knew that we could move forwards. I knew a lot of it rested on strategy and how the hybrids fared during the race. There is a couple of 908s in this race as well. We've got Joe Math in 2nd, the Frenchman, and also Kenny in 7th, a couple of positions ahead of us, both running the 908. And again, very important come the end of the race, that, so keep an eye on those two as we head down to Indianapolis once more. Car very, very difficult through Indianapolis, got worse and worse through the race, so the Group 1 cars don't need a tyre change. It saves you quite a decent amount of time in the pits, and you can manage the tyres through the 7 laps, but they get worse and worse and worse. And Indianapolis, Arnage, Mulsanne corner get progressively more and more difficult. Grip levels just plummet from lap 5 onwards, as you can see. We tackle the Porsche curves, brilliant Porsche curves, which have kind of been neutered this year. Again, if you watched them all the past weekend, they've increased safety, but kind of decreased spectacle through the Porsche curves for this year's race. And if you did watch this year's Le Mans race, let me know what you thought of it. Interesting comments over the race. Obviously, Fernando Alonso winning it for Team Fernando Alonso. I think he won it with a couple of other guys. I don't know their names. It's not really important. Fernando Alonso won the race, didn't he? So, yeah, it's crazy that he was in a team with 2 ex-Formula 1 drivers, and basically no one cared. It was like, yep, Fernando's won the race for Team Fernando. It wasn't even number 8, it was number F. But it was a good race, I thought. I think it got a lot of stick for obviously Toyota being in a one horse race in the LMP1 category. But the GT battle more than made up for that. The Porsche is very fast, the Fords. It's a shame that the BMW had some damper issues because that was right up there. The Ferraris never really in contention, the same with the Corvettes. And the Astons were terrible. As we make up another position, getting past the Frenchman, Oscaro Devil Kimi there, dispatching him on the first half of the Mulsanne straight, and we're behind our sister 908 in Kenny, VP Patton in front of him, who I know from our Forza days together. Always been a strong racer, Patton. Very fast, very fair. We'll see if we can pass him. No room for sentimentality in these races. As I say, this is the FIA season for real now. No more playing, no more pre-season, no more fake seasons, test seasons. This is it for real. And if you want to get involved in the FIA series, then all you have to do is go to the daily races. I'm going to size up Patton here, dispatch him nice and easily with our diesel power as we power down into the Mulsanne corner, clipping those apexes nicely, shadowing that 908 of Kenny in front of us. But yeah, if you want to get involved in the FIA races, all you have to do is go to Sport Mode. Manufacturers Cup and Nations Cup are both there. Just be obviously aware that once you pick your manufacturer, you can't change. So bear that in mind when you're picking who you want to represent manufacturer-wise. And obviously you represent your nation. There's no change in that one. You can't decide if you're British, you want to represent France or anything like that. As we're quite close to Kenny, having a quick nibble up the inside of Arnage, but we're never going to make that one stick, so I just backed out of it. Didn't really want to cause a collision or anything like that. As I said, I'm running with about 5 seconds of penalty at this point in the race, so no point trying to force the issue or anything like that. But yeah, FIA wise, what I'll do in the next couple of days is I'll make a video basically outlining the FIA setup, what you need to do, some tips for the racers, and how it's broken down, what you stand to win, what you have to do to win, etc, etc. So we'll do a how to FIA video in the next couple of days. But very interestingly, Nissan released a short teaser video earlier today, incentivising people to pick Nissan for the Manufacturers Cup. If you've not seen that, I'll pop a link to that video in the description below. Well, basically, if you represent Nissan and you win for Nissan, you get a trip to Japan. You get to go and watch an endurance race at Fuji. You get to visit Polyphony at their headquarters, and you also get some one-to-one tutelage from some Nissan drivers at Silverstone, I believe. So, amazing prize. But as a result, I think you'll find quite a few people have gone for Nissan in the manufacturers' picks. So competition will be stiff. I think we're going to go for something else to be confirmed. I've not picked my manufacturer yet. I've not done the manufacturer race today at all. Suzuka, not really a track that I excel at. So with the FIA format basically meaning that you drop your two worst results, I don't really feel the need to invest a massive amount of time into Suzuka. We have a look at the inside of Kenny into the first chicane. Maybe got a little bit too close to him now, which kind of compromised that one down the second half, the second third even of the Mulsanne straight. But yeah, I completely lost my train of thought here, but we're sizing up Kenny for a move anyway, so we'll go back to the FIA talk in a second. Basically, look at his inside, he gets on the brakes nice and early, and it's a formality up the inside into the second half of the chicane. And now we're hunting down PG Motorsport and Markler, who are locked in a race-long battle in front of us, 6th position so far, so we've risen basically 8 positions since the first lap. Really good run for us. Kenny right in our wheel tracks, but he's lifted off. Doesn't want to risk a move down into Mulsanne. We've hit the apex perfectly there anyway, so probably not a great deal he could have done down into that corner. But Kenny managing his pace well, as you'll see at the end of the race. But yes, back to the FIA chat. There's no reason really to pour your heart and soul into doing 8 races. It's very difficult, I think, to perform at an extremely high level in all 8. So picking your battles, you drop those 2 results anyway. Make a little bit of a mistake. You can see the tyres in that bottom left corner starting to cry foul, and you can see it in my braking distances into corners, clipping the apex of Arnage nicely, getting on the power. Car trying desperately to break away underneath me. But 6th position. End of a lap 4. Start to see people dipping into the pits at the end of this one as we come through the Porsche curves for the 4th time. Car getting more and more difficult to turn in to these sweepers. This is where you feel the grip differential the most, through these sweeping turns, where you normally be able to quite easily go through them at full power, or where a quick downshift would usually get you through. You'll find that the grip levels just aren't there anymore. It's more and more difficult to maintain the lines that you had done 1 or 2 laps into the race. But our pace has been pretty good. Like I said, we were very unfortunate in qualifying with the way things happened. We got blocked, obviously picked up that penalty. Our race pace has been pretty decent. I mean, we've done a 3:24.5, 3:24.3, 3:24.4. So I was pretty happy with the way I drove during this race. We were very consistent, hunted down cars, made moves stick very quickly, didn't really get stuck behind cars too much. We made the most of each opportunity we had and basically maximised our strategy, I felt, up until this point at least. That may change. I'm not going to spoiler the rest of the race for you, but at present I'd say we're driving pretty well, and our oddball choice of the 908 has paid off so far, as we again experienced that tyre degradation down into the first chicane. We were quite a decent amount up on our best lap coming out of Tête Rouge, and we lost all of that time. Just tyres not providing the same bite. We couldn't get the front end into the first half of that chicane, which compromised our run through the second half. Down again 3 gears into the second chicane. We've hit that one much nicer. You can see I'm very tentative on the power at this point. The rear wheels spinning up to every opportunity every time I put down the paddle. And what you can't see from the replay camera, obviously, because the game audio glitched out on my actual recording, is the gap is actually coming down to the top 3 and catching them quite quickly, which makes our qualifying position all the more frustrating. We definitely, I feel, could have potentially won this race. Not just a podium, but we could potentially have done very well in this race, provided the strategy was correct. So yeah, quite frustrating. It made me reevaluate my qualifying strategy, so we'll adjust that for next time, as the car tries desperately to kill me there through Indianapolis. Very sketchy through there. Down 2 gears into Arnage again. Taxi to the apex. The car just not doing what I want it to at this point, but the differential in pit stop times, if you put the tyres on, is just not worth it. You're better off struggling with the understeer and managing the car and managing the way you drive, rather than sitting there for the extra 7 or 8 seconds that it takes to take a fresh set of boots, because you're never going to make that time back. I'm not losing that much time with the tyres as the fuel load comes down. You know, the car's accelerating a bit faster, so that trade-off kind of works for us. As we enter the pits, and I missed my braking point by miles, clonk the wall there, almost spin it there. Not the best entry into the pit lane I've ever seen. I'll give myself a -7 for that one. But the boys in blue, red and white are waiting for me in my pit stall. Feels like forever, actually, when you're sat in a race, locked in a battle like this. It feels like you're waiting forever for your car to come in, just looking at those timing screens on the left hand side, thinking, am I in 10th? Have I lost that many positions? But no, we've popped back out in 7th position. So didn't actually lose that much time in the pits, but as you can see, the order on that left hand side has shaken up dramatically, and you've got the twin 908s of Jomas and Kenny in 1-2 positions. So different strategy than me. I've gone flat out through the entire race, trying to make up positions from my starting position of 12th. But those guys have managed their races really intelligently, very intelligent, and they are not going to pit during this race. They're managing their fuel load, turning the engine down when they're getting to the end of the straights, keeping it in a lower fuel mode, lifting and coasting, just maximising that initial fuel load to make it to the end on 1 tank. No pit stop, no need for tyres. So a very clever strategy for those guys. Adam there in 3rd, setting purple sectors left, right and centre, fastest laps of the race. But is he going to catch Jomas in 1st? What is the differential in terms of time? We'll find out. He's only got basically 1.5 laps to make it happen, and the gap on that minimap seems pretty large. I'd estimate maybe 6 or 7 seconds. So, I mean, Jomas is no slouch. He's quite well known in the GT Sport community as being a very quick driver. So to catch him by 3 seconds a lap, as I said, we weren't losing that massive amount of time on old tyres. It's Mulsanne corner getting ever difficult. So be very interested to see who takes this one. Markler and PG Motorsport seem to have opened the gap ahead of us. So basically we're just looking at our rearview mirrors at this point, trying to consolidate this 7th position. It's very important to note at this point, 20 minutes into the race, that I still have that 5 seconds of penalty. It's not gone anywhere, unfortunately. We've not been able to burn any of it. Usually you can nibble little chunks off it here and there, but we've been pushing that much that we've basically dropped none of the penalty at all. So we're in a very difficult position. Dr. Cart is not 5 seconds behind us. Tenka is not 5 seconds behind us. So we're going to have to work some magic on this last lap, but we can't afford to back off too much because we'll end up just losing the positions anyway. So we've got to make the most of the 908 and its prowess down the straight. See if we can just lift and coast a bit into the chicanes maybe to shave off some of that penalty. What I will say is I know for certain that Dr. Cart behind us, the Spaniard, does also have a penalty. So if we shave a little bit off, then it may counteract what he has as we go through the 4 chicanes for the penultimate time, fire our way onto the home straight for one final lap of Le Mans in this 908, down into the Dunlop curves for the first time, the Dunlop chicane, down into second gear, clip that inside apex nicely. The car, as I say, just not with the same amount of traction, fighting on the power, just trying to keep the car straight. Nice short shifts to keep the car in the power band. It's a diesel, so low revs or lower revs than you would in a conventional petrol powered car, or the hybrid, or I guess the hybrids like a low shift as well. They're yeah, they work quite low in the power band, but yeah, short shifting in the 908 kind of difficult because you're short shifting anyway. That's where your usual shift point is. As we head down into the first chicane, spy that little gap in the wall on the left hand side, hit those apexes nicely, just managing the tyre wear. But as you can see, the Audi caught us by so much through that first chicane. We hit it quite nicely and he was just able to gobble us up through there, and he's right in our wheel tracks. And I remember during the race I was just thinking at this point, just go past, just go past, just don't hit me, please. We've gone so far into this race with minimal incident. We've worked too hard to ruin it at this point. But he actually didn't try and move through that chicane, which surprised me a huge amount. We get a bit of a poor run out of the second half of that chicane, but it allows us basically to hold our position somehow. But he's right in our wheel tracks, and Mulsanne, as I said, getting increasingly difficult with low tyre wear, and we're just caught off guard a little bit, just looking in our mirrors. And it's one mistake, but he's through, and he's going to be very, very difficult to catch. So we're heading down the back straight, half a lap left, less than half a lap even, just 1 minute basically more of this race. We've done all the hard work, fought forwards from a poor start, basically a poor starting position. So we fought well, and we pick up a little penalty again through Indianapolis just there, but Dr. Cart looks like he's burning a penalty too. So basically at this point I just thought, just fire it past him, just fire it past him, just go, see what you can burn off at the very end, and just, you know, see if you can kind of counterbalance his penalty with your penalty. At this point I'd rather be ahead than behind, wondering if he's got a penalty that's bigger than mine. At least in this situation the race is kind of more in my hands because I have track position. So Porsche curves for the last time, very, very difficult. You'll see if you watch the video back, we're so much slower through the Porsche curves than we were at the start of the race. I think we felt this tyre wear through the Porsche curves worse than pretty much any other car. But as you can see, Joe Mass has won it. Adam didn't catch him, so Joe Mass with the zero pit stop strategy has played an absolute blinder through the 4 chicanes one last time. Clipped the apex there nicely. Dr. Cart just behind us, so fingers crossed across the line, and unfortunately we lose the position. So our penalty a little bit bigger than his, but a really, really hard fought 8th place. As I say, we probably deserved a little bit more than that from our race pace. We fought forwards really, really, really well, but it was a fun race nonetheless. As always guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below, and I'll see you all very soon.